Right, it's time to sit back and enjoy the action. Surely it's a win. It's the last match of the season. It's Liechtenstein against Scotland with Willie Miller, Michael Stewart and Alistair Lammett.
Thanks very much, Kenny. Vaguely familiar tune, that Liechtenstein national anthem. Well, it's the final 90 minutes of a long and arduous season for these players. Keen to round it off on a high and alleviate some of the criticism that came their way following another disappointing friendly result on Friday. It's a beautiful picturesque alpine setting out in Vaduz with the temperatures in the low 20s, though it does look like there's something of a breeze out there as well. But we're almost ready to get underway. The officials are from Austria. The referee is Julian Weinberger, and the players just assembling in their positions ahead of kick-off. Just a reminder, Ross Doohan, having been drafted into the squad just in the last couple of days, starts in goal with Angus Gunn injured and Kieran Slicker back on the bench. And there's a debut from the start, at least for Lennon Miller, having made his very first Scotland appearance on Friday against Iceland as a substitute. So the Scotland players, clad all in navy blue, up against Liechtenstein, who you might have heard Brian mention in his interview. One win in 48. They've lost their last 5, including against Wales on Friday in a World Cup qualifier. Only a couple of meetings between these countries before, both in European Championship qualifying duty, both very narrow wins. The last was a 1-0 victory here, actually, when Craig McHale-Smith scored the winner. 1-0 on that occasion. Stephen McManus's injury time winner at Hampden will still haunt a number of Scotland fans, no doubt, although it could have been much worse. Anyway, it will be Scotland to get us underway. Liechtenstein all in red, as Scotland looked for a victory here off the back of a couple of defeats, most damagingly of course to Greece in the Nations League playoff match. Scotland starting on the attack and immediately firing the ball forward, looking for George Hurst, who can only head it out of play. But it'd be good to see. Willie was talking about his performance there on Friday against the Icelanders, Michael, and he certainly showed up pretty well, despite the fact that he ultimately didn't get on the score sheet.
Yeah, I think that he certainly showed enough to warrant another start here tonight, and also to suggest that there is an alternative, there's an option at the top end of the park. We've been looking at the likes of Lyndon Dykes and Che Adams for a long time. Obviously Lawrence Shankland's been in and around, but I think what George Hurst showed us on Friday night was that he's got something there to offer the national team. So I'm interested to see how he fares here tonight.
Scotland coming forward down the left-hand side as Andy Robertson gets things moving with a throw-in. Here's McKenna. Completely changed central defence for Scotland with Hendry and McKenna coming in to start. Hendry, we were talking about him a fair bit on Friday, that the fact that he has kind of dropped out of Steve Clarke's certainly starting 11, but he's in it tonight for the first time in 5. And Steve Clarke hoping that his side can produce a quicker start and get themselves in front early on in this game, because the longer it goes at 0-0, the stuffier Liechtenstein will become. It's Lennon Miller on the ball, looking to try and inspire something. It's a clever pass forward for Hurst in the left channel, or the left hand side of the penalty area. He's got a couple of players surrounding him. He tries to float it into the back post and he just gets his cross wrong, but immediately you see the vision and the range of passing from Lennon Miller, and he is a player, even at the tender age of 18, you can just sense he's got something about him, can't you?
He's certainly got quality, and it's going to take him far in the game, that's for sure. And the first thing that I would say about the start to the game is forward thinking, isn't it? I mean, it doesn't have to be complicated, the game of football. Particularly on the back
There's
of
Adams
that.
in for Hurst. Sorry, Willie. Just to break in there. Hurst trying to get on the end of the cross from Adams. And it's just off target, the header from Hurst. Willie's up in our Aberdeen and might just be watching pictures that are slightly behind ours, so just to clarify that. But sorry, Willie, it is going to be a corner kick. It took a deflection, but I'll let you finish your thought there.
Yeah, that was the issue. If I thought that the ball was coming into the box, I wouldn't have been carried on speaking. But yeah, I just think it's more forward thinking. You know, they want to play the passage forward rather than playing it back and playing it amongst the goalkeepers. So I think that's a positive step that the managers obviously emphasise that they've got to, put the opposition under pressure rather than constantly keeping possession.
Comes to Miller and then it's deflected and it's into the back of the net, and Scotland have opened the scoring. And it's Shea Adams who's fired in the rebound inside 4 minutes. And it is the perfect start for the Scots. It's just what they wanted. Lennon Miller's effort from the edge of the box after the corner kick was cleared as far as him. It took a ricochet into the path of Adams, who fired immediately past the goalkeeper. And it's Liechtenstein 0, Scotland 1.
Yeah, it was a good strike. First time from Lennon Miller, although I do think it was drifting wide. And then likewise from Shea Adams, when the ball drops to him, he gets a good first touch to set himself and smashes it into the back of the net past the goalkeeper before he's able to react. And Shea Adams obviously, he's gone through a little bit of a barren spell, and it'll make him feel a whole lot better about himself. In fact,
he's taking it well.
Sorry, but I'm just thinking, was it Gibraltar game when his last goal, Al?
Yep.
This time last year?
Exactly. The 3rd of June last year was his first goal in 11, and he's only won in 19 prior to that one. Early doors. Michael's very pleased with himself that he managed to remember that.
That was a good goal though, wasn't it? I mean, he just pounced on it and very instinctive, and put the boot through it, and it ends up in the back of the net. It just shows you, if you get in the opposition box, what you can do to get them tested early.
Yes, indeed. Scotland ahead then, and they're coming forward once more, and it's Robertson out to the left-hand side where McGinn started the game. And then it's threaded forward, Robertson into the penalty area, chips it to the back post. Ralston won't reach that one though. It's out for a throw-in deep in Liechtenstein territory, as the Liverpool and Scotland player just can't quite pick out a teammate, and so 5.5 minutes in, it's Liechtenstein 0, Scotland 1.
It just looked as if for a split second there, like Anthony Ralston could have perhaps kept it in, but it drifts away out for the Liechtenstein shy on the far side. But I think it's just exactly what Steve Clarke would have been hoping for, in terms of, never mind just a bright start, getting an early goal as well. It just alleviates any sort of lingering pressure, but also just floods the team full of confidence and gives them something to build on.
Yeah, and they've got another corner nodded behind there by Jens Hofer. And Steve Clarke just sitting arms folded on the Scotland bench. Doesn't look, I'm never sure he ever looks altogether delighted, but I'm sure he will be content with the way his side have begun this game, certainly on the front foot, and looking for a second goal here in the early stages in Vaduz, as Andy Robertson goes out to that right hand side, which is where he swung the corner in for the opener. Let's see if they can repeat that trick. Back post bound, keeper gets a good fist to it, and actually the referee is blown for a free kick to Liechtenstein. As a defender had gone down there. I'm not sure he was caught by a Scotland player. It is actually Hofer again. As the ball came in, Michael, do you spot anything?
No.
Not massively. It's Hurst.
No, I mean, Hurst is at the back challenging with him. I think the fact that it's a head cap that comes off is what's made the referee stop and just be concerned there was a head knock there. But I don't think there was a great deal in it.
The free kick's taken. It's 1-0 Scotland in the early stages out in Liechtenstein, as they look to finish the 24-25 campaign off on a positive note ahead of the World Cup qualifiers starting for the Scots in Copenhagen in September. Already Liechtenstein have played 3 World Cup qualifiers. They're in a bigger group, and they've lost all 3 without scoring a goal. Here's Lennon Miller, already seen plenty of the ball in the heart of the Scotland midfield, and now it's Gilmour alongside him. A neat turn away from his opponent. Miller tries to get the ball forward again, that's cut out, but it'll break back to McKenna on the halfway line, and he plays it to Hendry.
What I would say, and you're touching on Lennon Miller before, and I know it's a different career path because Billy Gilmour was at a huge club in Chelsea to begin with, but you feel they've got a similar impact on the national team, and you can see when they step into this level, they just take it so comfortably. They recognise that they're capable and that they can have an impact. Middle of the park, always looking to get on the ball, and I'm really interested to see the two of them linking up together. I think the two of them will dovetail really nicely. The two of them always wanting the ball, they're always going to be supporting each other as well, and they both look to play the ball forward quickly. Now, if you've got the two of them sitting in the midfield with the likes of Doc, McGinn, McTominay, Christie, these guys in front of them, then to me, certainly looking at that, it augurs well.
There's a Scotland player going down in the middle of the park. I think it is Lennon Miller, and the referee has stopped play. Not actually sure if he's given the free kick or if he was concerned it was a head knock again. But 9 minutes in, Scotland lead by a goal to nil. It's just going to be a drop ball. I think the referee did feel it was a head knock. Lennon Miller's back on his feet, and the ball is dropped at the feet of Kenny Kindle. He's a good reader of the game, I believe, Michael.
Oh dearie, mate. I mean, Willie, can you believe it doesn't get any better, does it, Willie?
No, it doesn't indeed. It doesn't. He's been working on that for quite some time now, Michael.
Oh.
Anyway, Liechtenstein trying to come down the left-hand side.
Someone a wee chuckle himself here, Willie.
Quite pleased with that, to be fair.
It takes him away from the 100, doesn't it? The 100 years.
Actually, on reflection, I don't think it would be far.
He's not trying to go back to it, I think.
Yeah. If you're in a hole, stop digging.
Right, Liechtenstein have a throw in left-hand side, midway inside the Scotland halves. Miller's won it back, and then it's going out of play again. It will be a Scotland throw this time. That only Liechtenstein victory came in a friendly against Hong Kong, 1-0 win in October of last year. One win in 48, drawn 7 and lost 40, as we just get another rerun of Shea Adams' goal, which takes him up to 7 for his country on his 39th cap, the Torino forward. Yet another who plies his trade out in Italy. Liechtenstein have a throw in now, halfway line, right-hand side, taken by Trevor. Scotland have won it back though, and it's Adams driving Scotland forward, and he's one-on-one here. Obviously didn't really fancy his chances of beating them for pace, but it's a good ball in from McGinn, and it's Lewis Ferguson almost getting on the end of it to good effect, but he just maybe took his eye off it at the last minute and couldn't get the shot off. Otherwise Scotland could have been in for a second goal. They've got it back in the midfield here through Gilmour. 11.5 played out in Vaduz at the Rhine Park Stadion, and it's Scotland leading by an early Shea Adams goal to 0, and they're certainly controlling this game. But I'm sure the Tartan Army, who have made their way out there, and they've made their way out there in good numbers as always, will be looking for a few more goals in the sunshine to put a smile, I guess, back on their faces after the rather dismal showing against Iceland. Liechtenstein have won it inside their own half, right-hand side, but they've given it straight to Lennon Miller, and he plays it infield for Gilmour. Gilmour on the edge of the centre circle. It's Ralston now stepping forward, back in the team after sitting out the Iceland game, having started the previous 12 for his country. Here's Robertson on the other flank. Just plays a short ball into Adams, who plays out to McGinn, left-hand side. He tries to play it into the penalty area. Adams can't get on the end of it, and it's out for a throw-in this near side. But a positive start, certainly, Willie Miller.
Oh, very positive, yeah. I mean, I don't think there can be any complaints about the attitude and the tempo that Scotland have started with. It's been particularly easy because Liechtenstein have not made any attempt really to get into the Scotland half. I think by good fortune perhaps have made it on one occasion, but they seem just happy to sit back and try to soak up, and with that early breakthrough they haven't changed at all, but really positive from a Scotland point of view, and they're looking to dominate the proceedings.
Given away by Hurst in a forward area, and Liechtenstein try to play their way out of trouble here, and then it's hoisted down the right wings. A claim there for a free kick with McKenna just holding his ground, but the referee's not interested, and Scotland pick up as McKenna finds Gilmour on the halfway line. Now it's Hendry, plays it square to McKenna, out to the left hand side to Miller back into Gilmour. Early ball for Hendry, and he's able to step forward into a bit of space now in the central area. Plays it out to Ralston. It's Ferguson actually picking up possession, and now it's Ralston. He tries to find Ferguson once more but gives it away, and Liechtenstein just play the ball forward. They didn't actually manage a single shot in that defeat by Wales on Friday, and they'll be looking to at least improve upon that over the course of the 90 minutes as Robertson clips it forward looking for Adams. He's beaten to it, but it's going to break the way him again, left hand side of the penalty area now. Past one challenge to the byline, but it's too close to the goalkeeper, and it's a good take from the experienced Benjamin Buchel in the Liechtenstein goal. And after 14 minutes it remains Liechtenstein 0, Scotland 1.
Yeah, it was good play for John McGinn, getting down the line and hitting the byline. Not particularly great defending, mind you, but just at that moment there, looking for a little bit better from John McGinn.
It's Scotland in possession once more. The pitch looks a little bit bobbly out there as Billy Gilmour fired the pass across the ground, but Scotland have it through McKenna just inside his own half. Plays it short to Robertson, who wins his 84th cap tonight, takes him just 7 behind Jim Leighton, who's second in the all-time standings for Scotland, and surely only a matter of time before he overtakes him. All things being well for Andy Robertson, a year left in his contract at Liverpool, and making it clear last week that he still sees his future there, with it looking likely. I don't think it's quite over the line yet, is it? But Liverpool are looking to bring in Kerkez from Bournemouth, who's a quality left back. Here's McGinn on the left hand side, finding Robertson at the edge of the box. He just pokes it to Miller. Miller can't get it back to Robertson, but it does break kindly for Ralston, right hand side. Into the area it comes, away by Traber, picked up just outside the box by Gilmour, who feeds it to Ralston, and now Ferguson, who's started just out on that right hand side of the midfield, as Steve Clarke tries to find a formula in which he can get his best players, who a lot of whom are central midfielders, all into the same team. And it's a conundrum that is proving pretty difficult to solve, as Gilmour plays it forward now for McGinn, gets it back in the midfield, just stabs it back to Gilmour, who tries to switch the play, doesn't quite come off, but it's going to come to Hendry, who now gets it out to the right hand side to the Celtic fullback Ralston. Back with Hendry once more, about 20 yards inside the Liechtenstein half. Ralston again on the right hand side, just plays it forward to Ferguson, who scored that unfortunate own goal to put Iceland back in front. Scotland player gone down there, and the referee stopped play. I don't think it was a foul, but again, it just looks like the turf. It's George Hurst who's gone down. And I noticed a couple of players just kind of catching their studs in the turf almost. Not entirely sure that's exactly what happened to Hurst, but I think he'll be all right to carry on just after a moment's stoppage there.
Yeah, I couldn't see anything really going on there. But then again, Angus Gunn was the same. You couldn't see too much wrong with when he came out and grafts that cross into the box. But there you go. Maybe this stage of the season, the end of the season, and the legs are maybe not operating the way they should. But Hurst is up. He seems fine, and they carry on. It's difficult game though, isn't it? As a spectator, could you imagine going and watching Liechtenstein and being a supporter? It must be torture. Anyway, it's a good start for Scotland, and they've got to be creative in front of goal to break the 11 in front of them down.
At least the scenery is no bad, Willie.
It looks good, doesn't it? Yeah, it does.
Although the tune at the beginning of the game's a little bit.
I thought the copyright would have been broken there. No.
I think when a tune is a certain vintage, that the copyright rules don't apply anymore.
Yes, of course.
So there you are. That's definitely over 100 years old. Anyway, here comes Scotland on the attack, up towards Adams. Doesn't quite reach him, and it's the captain in the middle of the park, Nicholas Hassler of Vaduz, who steps in for Liechtenstein. 34 years old now. As I mentioned, he played in both the previous games actually against Scotland. Here they come into the box. It's Lennon Miller getting to the byline. He's just stopped from getting the cross in there by the challenge of Lars Treber, also of Vaduz, and it's behind for a Scotland corner. 18.5 played. Liechtenstein 0, Scotland 1.
Good play. And I mean, look, this is where you're trying to strike the right balance, because the young, hungry players, the likes of Miller, are going to want to be impressing, and alongside the experience, they can help to drag them along with their exuberance and their energy. But they've got to be good enough quality. They've got to be ready to go and do it, and certainly I'd suggest that Lennon Miller is in that category.
And he's taking the corner from the left-hand side, and it comes to the near post. I think it was Hendry who tried to flick it goalwards, but he couldn't get it on target, the big centre-back, and it's behind for a goal kick to Liechtenstein. Steve Clark out on his feet outside of his dugout in the warm temperatures out in Liechtenstein, and it's a goal kick to the home side, taken by Buchel out to the right hand side as Liechtenstein try to play out from the back. They're in danger of putting themselves in trouble here as Scotland look to press them pretty high. Eventually it's just hoisted hopefully forward. It's going to work out okay for them as it's picked up there by Fabio Notaro, but out of play in the end for a Scotland throw-in just inside their own half. It's quickly taken. Looks like Steve Clark has asked them to play with as high a tempo as possible, take the game to the Liechtensteiners, and they've certainly got the reward in the shape of the early goal from Shea Adams. 20 minutes in now, still it's 1-0 to the Scots, as it was the last time they were here back in October of 2011. They've given it away though to Liechtenstein, who will take any encouragement they can get. Decent challenge there from Gilmore to halt the progress of Ferhat Saglam, who plays in the Swiss 5th tier. It's the kind of level a lot of the Liechtenstein squad operate at, 4th and 5th tier in Switzerland. A few of them, as I mentioned, play for Vaduz, who are certainly the best of the Liechtenstein teams. They play in the Swiss 2nd tier, and some of you might remember beat Falkirk in Europe. I think that was back in 2008. But certainly a lot of the Liechtenstein team are part-time nowadays. Speaking to Franz Bergmeier, who actually scored the winner for Vaduz against Falkirk just for Sportsound yesterday, and he was saying they're actually an even poorer team now than they were all those years ago when Scotland last come up against them. As there's another Liechtenstein player going down off the ball. Looks like it's Luki Notaro again for a few stoppages already as we approach the quarter point in the game. Scotland leading by a goal to 0.
And to be honest, these sorts of stoppages didn't help Scotland. You want to try to keep some sort of tempo and momentum at the game, and when you're getting stoppages like this, it just drags any energy out of the game. Obviously looks pretty warm as well. Surface is a bit sticky, and then you get these stoppages that inevitably just takes the tempo out of the game.
Yeah, he took a ball to the midriff there, so a little bit winded, I think. Fabio Notaro, who is a Vaduz player but only played a couple of games for the first team this season in the Cup. He did score in both, but certainly been given his chance in the national team. He's going to make his way off here. just for a moment or two as he catches his breath, and we get a shot of the German manager of the Liechtenstein side, Konrad Funfstuck, former Kaiserslautern manager. This is his 22nd game in charge of the national team as the referee again restarts the game with a drop ball, and Liechtenstein get possession of it, and it's all the way back to Buchel in goal. The 35-year-old launches it long all the way through, in fact, to his opposite number, Ross Doohan, who hasn't had a lot to do, and you would imagine it's going to remain that way. But a magnificent moment, you'd have to say, Willie, for Ross Doohan, who, as you described pre-match, he didn't do himself any harm when he came in for the Aberdeen appearances he made this season, and he would never have thought, I wouldn't imagine in his wildest dreams, that he'd be making his international debut this summer.
No, it was a very good stand-in. He played with a lot of confidence, and getting the opportunity. I don't know, was he on holiday? Did he have to?
I think so.
Break his holiday?
He was in Turkey from what I remember reading.
Cut it short and get yourself back. You're in the international team. Totally unexpected, and getting a start as well, which is quite incredible. But he's been confident. When he's been asked to stand in for Mitov, and he had quite a number of games, quite a lengthy spell as well. So he's had nothing to do today, right enough.
No, he's orchestrating things from the back, directing traffic at the moment as McKenna picks up, another former Aberdeen man, plays it to Hendry and then out to the right hand side to Ralston. It does look a little bit sticky the way the ball is running, or almost failing to run at times, as there's a heavy challenge goes in there on Ferguson, but Scotland in possession with Gilmour, and he just rolls it back to McKenna, and the game's allowed to continue. Ferguson back on his feet now with Robertson in possession on the left hand side. We've played 24 minutes, Scotland leading by the early Shea Adams goal to nil. No other real test for Benjamin Buchel thus far, as Robertson tries to change that as he finds McGinn on the edge of the box. He just pivots a couple of times, tries to wriggle away from his marker, and in the end he's brought him down. The referee allows play to continue, but Liechtenstein almost giving it away. Then they've played it off the referee, and so it'll be another drop ball. They've had more drop balls in this game so far than we've seen in most of the rest of the season as a whole. But we're already back underway as it's back with Buchel once more, making his 74th appearance for his side. It's a poor clearance on his only found Miller, and now it's Adams, bottom corner, and he's got his second of the evening. Fine finish from Shea Adams as he took the ball just inside the penalty area, swivelled and just wrong-footed the goalkeeper, who was at fault with the kick out. And Shea Adams doubles Scotland's and his own tally for the evening. 25 minutes in, Liechtenstein 0, Scotland 2.
That's good play for Lennon Miller. You can see here, right up on top of his opponent. Madness from Buchel and goals. I just wondered whether Adams was going to reverse it into Miller's path, and he wouldn't have been able, because his run was matched. Instead he, as you said, reverses that into the bottom corner, and the goalkeeper has got no chance. You just see here, he shifts it and then into that bottom corner, and the goalkeeper's got all his weight on his left side, thinking he's going to go the other corner, and Shea Adams doubles his tally for the night.
He takes it well, and Lennon Miller too, as you said, Michael. And although it was a short pass, the pressure was good. The short pass just sets Adams up, and I'm not too sure if he's caught that sweet. I don't know if he really meant that. Maybe he did. Maybe I'm being hard on him, but I thought it was maybe a kind of a awkward strike by him, but it ends up in the back of the net. But it's one of these games that Scotland should be taking advantage of, when the goalkeeper Buchel's playing a pass like that straight out with pressure on his defender. It's just madness, absolute madness.
Do you know, the thing is, I think he did mean it in terms of trying to get that corner, but you're right, it wasn't the cleanest of strikes. He sort of choked it a little bit.
Yeah.
Liechtenstein trying to create an opportunity of their own after a kind ricochet off the boot of Robertson. Then McGinn makes a challenge, and the Liechtenstein player going down inside the area. The referee's not interested, and then McGinn is taken down as he surges forward, and that will be a free kick to Scotland. But Liechtenstein themselves were looking for a penalty for the challenge by McGinn on Saglam. We'll get another view of it here, Michael.
No chance. I can't believe you're even contemplating suggesting that there was anything to look at there. It's John McGinn, just an absolute strong as an ox. There's no question about it being a foul. But I was just thinking there, that second goal goes in at a very appropriate and good time, because you could just get the feeling the game was starting to die a death. It was slowing down. All of a sudden you get the second goal and it just livens things up again, and the positivity just lingers and continues for a little bit more.
No, it certainly wasn't even a suggestion of a penalty there, despite the way that Saglam
you seem to be suggesting it, Al.
I suggested that they were looking for one, but Willie, you would agree with Michael that it was never going to be given.
Saglam goes down holding his head, and there's no contact with his head whatsoever. It's John McGinn being strong, puts his shoulder a little bit into his body, he goes down holding his head. It's one of these ones that he's hoping that he can influence the referee, but there's nothing in it at all, and certainly it wasn't a head knock.
Scotland back in possession, and it's Lennon Miller who's played a part in both goals that have been finished by Shea Adams, so he's certainly taken his chance in the Scotland midfield as Liechtenstein get the decision right on the edge of their own penalty. Lewis Ferguson perhaps just overdoing the closing down there. We're getting another view of the McGinn challenge, but it really was just a case of McGinn using his strength to hold the player off, and he goes down very dramatically, looking for the spot kick. There is no VAR in operation, and I can say that with some certainty, having said it wrongly the other night, but I can actually guarantee that there is no VAR in operation in Vaduz tonight, before you correct me again, Michael. I know that you love to do on the odd occasion that I do get things wrong.
You don't know how good it would be if there was an incident and VAR comes up here.
Here's Billy Gilmore, just inside his own half, plays it square to McKenna. Scotland leading by 2-0. Shea Adams with both goals, as McGinn turns away and then plays it back in field to Miller. McKenna for Hendry, just inside his own half, plays it forward to Gilmore. Little dummy from him, doesn't run through to Hurstow, and Liechtenstein defender Jens Hofer was on his toes there to intercept, but Scotland yet again have it back pretty quickly as they look to build and try and create another opportunity. Almost half an hour played in Vaduz, and it's the Scotland fans in good voice, as they tend to be, almost regardless of the scoreline, but they'll be happy with this one. 2-0 they lead. McKenna just winced there as he played that pass, but Robertson picks up and plays it forward for Adams, who's battling away but losing out just inside the Liechtenstein box. Again, Scotland pick up. Robertson can't keep it, just losing his footing, but again Liechtenstein giving the ball away very cheaply. Scotland looking to build through the midfield. It's back with McKenna again, just inside the Liechtenstein half, plays it square to Hendry. McKenna looks for it again, steps forward, he's comfortable doing that, plays it out to the left hand side to Robertson, and then gets it back once more. The Las Palmas defender looks like he's going to be playing in the Segunda Liga out in Spain next year, after Las Palmas were relegated, assuming he stays out in Gran Canaria for another year. He and Ollie McBurney going down second bottom of La Liga, but another good experience of another league for Scots International, as Liechtenstein do well to play out from the back this time, only to eventually give it away, and Adams plays it into the edge of the box for Hurst. Hurst just overly physical there in the edge of the box, barging Aaron Sella to the ground and conceding the free kick, and a bit of respite for Liechtenstein, who, well, they must be used to being on the back foot, Willie, but I just question what is there to be gained by Scotland in taking on an opponent like this?
Well, to be experimental, but the manager doesn't want to be experimental, according to what he says. For me, I think friendlies like this is about introducing fresh blood. You've got Lennon Miller, so he's fresh and he's getting the opportunity. You get George Hurst, who's getting the chance as well. It's a back four again, reverting. The two centre backs have done particularly well. It's fine. I think it's more about the camp, is it not? When you're good two friendlies back to back like this, getting the players together. But playing against this sort of opposition, at the top level, you're not going to experience it. So I don't know, you know what you're going to get out of it unless you run up, a good scoreline and a good win.
Yeah, well, they're on track to do those. You would say 2-0 up after 32 and a half minutes as Liechtenstein pick up possession though inside their own half out to the left hand side. It goes and it's back with Hofer. He'll go back in field to Sandro Wieser. Plays it out to the right hand side to Lars Treber. Keeping possession at the back for the moment, but under pressure is Kindle. And he plays it into a dangerous area in the middle of the park and it's picked up by Ferguson. Now McGinn. Scotland looking for a third goal on the angle of the box. It's Miller tried to thread it through a couple of bodies and didn't quite manage to do so, and Liechtenstein pick up, but again it's only a couple of passes they manage before conceding possession once more, and they're just not good enough on the ball to keep a hold of it. As Ferguson drifting across from his position on the right hand side into the left centre position just at the moment. Now it's McKenna back out to the left to the captain Robertson, into the feet of Adams. It's a clever dummy though, and it's Ferguson once more. Left hand side is McGinn tries to get it into the box, comes off a Liechtenstein defender behind for a corner. It's Liechtenstein 0, Scotland 2, 33 and a half played, and Scotland will have a corner on the left hand side.
Yeah, it was good play. There was a wee bit of pace injected in the attack. There was a one little moment there where I thought Lewis Ferguson, he had a bit of space, and I was wondering whether he was going to turn and perhaps drive at the edge of the box, but Scotland managed to recirculate it and get forward. Ferguson was involved again.
Here's Miller with the corner. It's a deep one to the back post, free header for McKenna, and then Hendry goes up and it came off a Liechtenstein head last, and it'll be another corner from the left hand side. Willie, have you seen that yet? Are you sufficiently
It's just coming, yeah. I think he's under pressure, Jack Henry. I don't think he could do too much about it as McKenna gets it. It's well worked, you know. They split. One goes to the back and one goes central, so a little bit maybe unfortunate, but not too sure if Jack Henry could do much more with that one.
And the second corner's taken short, but ultimately McGinn can't force it into the danger area, and so Liechtenstein survive that particular move. But Robertson gets it back to McGinn, left hand side, and then it's forward for Ferguson, who just seems to have changed position, but he has fouled his man as he tried to get in behind there. And Liechtenstein will have the free kick deep in their own territory. We've got 10 minutes remaining in the first period. Scotland leading by 2 Shea Adams goals to 0, as Liechtenstein have offered very little going forward. They lost all 10 of their games in the last European Championship qualifying campaign, and in terms of their Nations League campaign, which is just finished, finishing bottom of Nations League D behind San Marino and Gibraltar. San Marino are one of the few sides who are actually ranked below them, but they lost both to San Marino. A couple of draws, both against Gibraltar, but only 5 teams altogether ranked below them in the entire FIFA system. Here comes Scotland then, looking for a third goal before half-time. It's Gilmour who was just dragged back there, and he goes to ground and he wins inside the free kick, midway inside the Liechtenstein half, left of centre, but an opportunity from this set piece to get McKenna and Hendry forward. Looks like a yellow card actually being shown to Simon Lukinger of Liechtenstein, the first yellow of the game for pulling back Gilmour as he was in full flight.
Well, it'll give Scotland plenty opportunity to practice their set pieces, that's for sure, corners and free kicks, but the quality of opposition is as poor as you possibly can get, isn't it? But it then throws down the gauntlet to be more creative.
Here comes the free kick then. It's Robertson who swings it into a good area. It's well defended initially, at least. Liechtenstein clearing their box, and it's picked up by McGinn about 25 yards from goal. Plays it short to Adams on the angle of the box on the left hand side. He just rolls it back to Robertson, midway inside the Liechtenstein half. He goes back in field to Ferguson and out to the right hand side now to Ralston. Ferguson gets it back and plays it quickly to Hendry, who'll play it square to McKenna, and back out to the left to the skipper Andy Robertson. Back with McKenna once more. Liechtenstein with everyone behind the ball as we move to within 8 minutes of half time. Scotland leading by 2-0. McKenna on the halfway line. Scotland just slowing it down ever so slightly just now. Hendry then for Miller. Like Gilmore always making himself available for a pass. Now it's McKenna driving forward into that left channel, then plays it out to McGinn, back towards Gilmore, and then Hendry. Scotland looking for a way through a rather tightly packed Liechtenstein back line. Now it's Ferguson out on that right hand side, can't get the better. Actually, it was Ralston who was trying to take his man on out on that far side. He can't get the better of the defender, and Liechtenstein can come forward in a rare attack down that left hand side, but it won't be caught there by Max Gopal, who's playing as a left wing back essentially, out for a Scotland throw in though. 38 played, Liechtenstein 0, Scotland 2. Michael's just in danger of nodding off here. I think we'll need another bit of action from Scotland.
It's difficult, you know, when you've got a game the way it is just now, where the opposition have no real effort. They don't make any effort at all to get themselves forward.
No, it's all about just keeping the scoreline down, I think, for Liechtenstein. Scotland have a throw-in in a well-advanced area on the left-hand side. It's Robertson into Hurst. Tries to get past his marker. The referee is pointed for the corner. Liechtenstein claiming that it was Hurst that took it behind, and a little bit of sympathy for them at first glance at least, but the referee he's actually asking, I think he's asking George Hurst. He's given a goal kick. He's asked George Hurst, did that come off you last? And I'm not even sure Hurst has admitted it did, but the referee's changed his mind. How often do you see that happening?
I've just seen Al get more excited about the referee's decision than he has about goals.
That's
very, very animated there.
Yeah. That's a new one on me. And I'll tell you what, if it asked me, I would have told him.
Referees enough, Willie. You pressurised them enough.
But what do you say? I mean, if a referee asks you, did that come off you? There's only one answer. No. Whether it did or not, it's not your job to correct the referee, although I did try it on many occasions. Yeah, correct.
5 minutes to the interval, and Scotland have a 2-goal advantage. Both goals scored by Shea Adams as Robertson fires it forward. Buchel should gather that before Ferguson can latch onto it. Indeed he does. Vaduz goalkeeper, who has now conceded 162 goals in his international career. The most recent 2 scored by Shea Adams of Torino in Scotland. Not sure there'll be too many international goalkeepers who have conceded as many as that, as Robertson switches plays, looking for Ralston, who will scurry across there to the right hand side and keep it in, and then play it back in field for Gilmore, who's quickly closed down and dispossessed. Actually, it's a good challenge just inside the Liechtenstein half, and forward they come as Liechtenstein carries it to the edge of the box. He goes down at the edge of the box. The referee's happy enough with the challenge though, as Liechtenstein does look like he likes to go down under the slightest of pressure, but I actually feel he might have had a case on that occasion. But Scotland waste no time in coming forward on the left flank, and it's Robertson playing it into McGinn. McGinn midway inside the Liechtenstein half, plays it short to Gilmore. Gilmore out to the right hand side to Ralston. Scotland looking for a third goal with 4 minutes left in this first period. Back then to Hendry and into Lennon Miller, who's had a good first 45. Scotland on the right hand side now, looking to get the ball into the area. Hurst was just slightly on his heels as the ball came in from the right hand side, looked too close to the goalkeeper. Anyway, we'll get a rerun here, Michael, of the Liechtenstein run forward. Across came McKenna. Did he just take him out there?
No. It's one of those instances that happen in football. Yes, there's contact, but not every contact is a foul.
Liechtenstein pick up possession just inside their own half. Played it forward. There's a man had gone offside, and so obviously couldn't go for the ball, and McKenna gets it back to Doohan. It's as much as he's had to deal with under a little bit of pressure there from Harsler, but he manages to get the ball clear comfortably enough as we approach half time 3 minutes left in this first period. Scotland still leading by 2-0. Miller has it on the halfway line. It's another wonderful ball down that left-hand side. It's McGinn on the left, turns away from his marker, curls it in towards goal. Good save from Buchel. Can Scotland pick up on the rebound? It's Hurst trying to make something of it. Cleared as far there as Gilmour, who nods out to the right-hand side to Adams. Out comes Ralston on the overlap. Adams looked to try and play him on the inside, and he hadn't made that run, and it's back with Buchel. But John McGinn just a second ago denied a potential third goal. Another wonderful pass there from Miller.
Yeah, it's a great ball, and it's a really good play for John McGinn as well. It looked as if that was going in at the far post there, cutting back in on his right foot, but getting a good strike away. That was a lovely pass for Lennon Miller.
I think Lennon Miller might be adding another million onto his potential summer transfer fee if that does materialise, because he's had a really good first half, Willie.
He has, yeah. I mean, really productive and sees the pass, and not only sees the pass, but capable of executing it accurately as well. But John McGinn has been good, I've felt. John McGinn
he has, isn't he?
On this left-hand side, yeah.
Right. Yeah. He's, and he was one of those guys that falls firmly into that category where I take my hat off them, because so very easily could have been saying, I've got a tight calf or something after a long, hard season.
It's not in his DNA, is it?
Well, it's clearly not, and that's why you've got to give him a huge amount of credit.
Yeah, 49 games for Villa this season, on top of the international appearances, but still turning out and turning up for these international meetings. It is, as you say, Michael, it is credit to, it says a lot about how the players feel about playing under Steve Clarke, that every single one of them turned up having been named in the squad, albeit, as you say, McTominay and Tierney pulling out of this particular trip, having been injured in the game against Iceland. We've got under a minute left in the first half. Scotland leading by 2-0. Might have been 3 there, but for a good save from Buchel to deny McGinn, as McGinn allows Kindle to get away from it. Still Kindle going. That is not far away from a fabulous finish. He moved it onto his left foot, let fly from the edge of the box, and that is only inches away from the inside of the post. Ultimately the wrong side as far as Kindle is concerned, and it remains Liechtenstein 0, Scotland 2.
Well, it's a good drive and run there from Kindle. He was caught out just before when John McGinn had got on the inside of him with Lennon Miller's pass. This time he's able to drive past McGinn and get right at the heart of the Scotland defence, and fortunately for us it's just drifted the other side of the post there.
Yeah, it's not far away, is it? I mean, it's a really good effort with his left foot from Kindle there, and allowed to really make up too much ground. I think Scott McKenna and Jack Henry could have closed them down a little bit quicker, tried to get a block in, but he was unfortunate to see it flash past.
A minute added on at the end of this first period, and we're already halfway through that as Jack Henry plays it short to Gilmour just inside his own half, and it's back with Henry once more. Gilmour winning his 40th cap tonight, and he plays that forward in the right channel for Hurst, who's just gone marginally too early, and it'll be a free kick to Liechtenstein for the offside against the Ipswich striker.
He's not been as involved as I would have hoped. After Friday, we're looking forward to seeing him, but he's not been able to get as big an impact in that first half.
Half-time whistle sounds out in Liechtenstein. It is 2-0 Scotland, and both goals coming from Shea Adams. The first one inside 4 minutes as Lennon Miller tried his luck from the edge of the box. That was blocked, but it fell kindly for Adams, who fired swiftly past Benjamin Buchel to make it 1-0. And then on 25 it was 2-0. The same couple of Scotland players combining. Miller closing down Buchel's pass out from the back. He won the ball, found Shea Adams, who found the bottom corner with his finish. John McGinn was denied just a couple of minutes before the break, looking to make it 3-0. Another Lennon Miller pass picking him out, but good save from Buchel on that occasion. And then just in the stroke of half time, Kenny Kindle might have reduced the arrears for Liechtenstein, but his shot from the edge of the box flew just wide, and so at half time out in Vaduz, it is Liechtenstein 0, Scotland 2.
Football from Sports Sound.
Brilliant drop of the shoulder!
From BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.
BBC Radio Scotland is celebrating a summer of live music.
We're giving you the chance to win tickets to the biggest gigs and festivals across the summer.
Here comes the lyric.
In a bottle. Brilliant. I've always been a big fan.
There's 2 chances to win every Wednesday. Listen to mornings after 10 a.m. for the first chance to play.
And afternoons after 1:30 for another chance to win.
To find out more about the competition and the prizes, head to bbc.co.uk/Radio Scotland.
Win every Wednesday with Live in 2025 on BBC Radio Scotland.
So, Liechtenstein 0, Scotland 2 at half-time here on BBC Radio Scotland Sports, and bringing you all the action as ever. Michael Stewart is alongside me here in the Glasgow studio. Willie Miller is up in Aberdeen for us this evening. Michael, what have we learned from that first half performance from Steve Clarke's team?
Lennon Miller's a good player.
Yeah. So comfortable, isn't he?
He is, yeah. I mean, obviously not want to overhype it or anything like that, but it's another example of, him stepping up to, the next level. Granted, the opposition are not a huge test, but the magnitude of the fact that he's starting for his country here, and he's only 18-year-old, and he just takes it like a duck to water, and he's one of the big positives from this, and that I'm looking at him, and I've always felt he's the type that when you put him in with better players at the next level, he will not only settle in comfortably, he then becomes one of those ones that are actually wanting to dictate the game, actually become one of the main folk. And I'd be, if he continues in this form in terms of club level next season, I would be contemplating starting him.
So where does he work? We spoke before the programme, you touched on this on Friday night, when Ben Doak is available to us, he should play, we should build our team around him, we start with the back four. So let's leave the personnel aside for the back four. From there forward,
Miller, Gilmore, Doak, McTominay, McGinn and a striker.
Sounds good, doesn't it? That sounds like a strong midfield to front area.
Yeah.
A lot of quality there.
I think so, and it's got the balance. It's got goals, it's got pace, it's got experience, it's got creativity, good ball retention as well. I mean, it's fitting players in it, but you've got to get that balance right, because at the moment, to give Lewis Ferguson he's not a wide right player. John McGinn has got good experience of playing in these areas. He plays it well. He's not an out and out wide player, but he does it well. Lewis Ferguson's not really that type. But if you chuck out the pace of a Ben Doak in that area, all of a sudden it just complements what else is there. Still think we're obviously looking for who can lead the line. That's the position that's really up for grabs in that middle to front side.
Well, speaking of that area, Willie Miller, at least what we have also learned tonight is that Che Adams can put the ball in the back of the net. It feels like an important confidence booster for him getting these 2 goals.
Yeah, it does, and it's unusual he's got a partner beside him as well. I don't think we'll see that in too many occasions, but I could be wrong, having 2 strikers on the park. But the first one, he's taking it really smartly. He's just pounced on it and put the laces through it and rifled into the back of the net. And the second one, I was watching a replay. I'm watching another replay of it just now. It doesn't hit it crisply. Now, as Michael says, it looks as though he's tried to put it into that corner and he's bamboozled the goalkeeper. But it's not a crisp hit,
no,
is it?
It's not. It's a sclaff almost,
kind of comes
isn't it?
off his kind of ankle. But hey, it's well taken. It's well taken. It's just so poor defending and the goalkeeping. But it has certainly sent the goalkeeper the wrong way. He's thinking he's going to go for the curler towards the far post, and he cuts it back, and the goalkeeper doesn't move at all. He's just rooted. Two good goals from him. That's bound to boost his confidence at this level. From a defensive point of view, though, you've got two. If you're looking at who's your 2 is going to be, if you're going to go with the back 4. I think Suter and McKenna is a very, very strong partnership. Jack Henry Yeah, but I would put Suter in front of Hendry. And I think McKenna, when you watch him, I thought the challenge just outside the box was a little bit clumsy from him. He kind of comes across with his left foot rather than either not making the challenge and just ushering the player back the way and wide of the goal. So from that point of view, I think he could have done better. And the two of them, I thought, could have done better for the Kendall strike that almost found the top strike. Corner. You hit it well, but a lot of room to run. I mean, he's run from his own half to just outside the box before anybody comes out to him. And it's one of the two centre-backs that does that. John McGinn, he catches John McGinn wrong-footed and shows him a clean pair of heels. So, from that point of view, I think the two centre-backs perhaps should have seen the danger a little bit earlier. But, for me, if you're going to play the two centre-backs, then I think McKenna and Suter, both tall, both strong, can both play. Suter better user of the ball than McKenna, but McKenna decent and quick. Both of them have got pace. So I would throw that one out, perhaps.
Yeah, is that the shape, your preferred shape, Willie? If we're looking ahead now to the World Cup qualifiers, which start in September, is that what you want to see from a Steve Clarke side, the back four, which of course, as we've been discussing, would we presume mean that either Robertson or Tierney, one of them drops out?
Yeah, well, that's what you feel. Do you put Tierney in with one other centre back if you're going to go with the two? I think there's better options. Mm-hmm. I think Kenny, it should be. You should be taking in the opposition as well, should you not? I don't think Scotland are at a level where they can just say this is the way we are going to play, no matter who we're playing against. I think there will be times where the manager will look at the opposition and decide whether it's going to be a four at the back or a three or a five at the back, and he's got every right to do that. And the problem is if you're going to play with the four, why are you playing with the four? Is it from a defensive point of view or is it from an offensive point of view? And as Michael has spoken extensively about it, it's a Ben Doak situation, isn't it? If you've got him, then obviously that, like Tierney, if you want to play Tierney and Robertson together, you play the 3/5. If you want to play Ben Doak, then it's probably a 4. But I think we're blessed with good enough players to play either the 4 at the back or the 5 at the back or the 3 centre backs. We're well blessed with players in these positions.
Right, let's give the website a Willie Miller quote here. There's a live text going on the BBC Sports Scot website, Willie. They've got a picture of Lennon Miller. They're asking our audience for their thoughts on his performance in his first start for Scotland, an assist and some tidy passes, according to the website. Your thoughts on what you've seen from this young man in the opening 45? Oh,
yeah, top notch, top quality. A young player that's playing with a huge amount of confidence. I think that's what kind of is on the screen that I'm watching, and I saw it firsthand at Hampden on Friday night as well. He's not phased at all. He believes in his own ability. He's positive, and as I said earlier, when you get games like this, go and play the way you play at club level. Go and catch the attention of not just the manager but everybody. Catch the attention of the nation if you possibly can. And that's what he's done. I mean, some of and it's forward passing as well. It's not just meaningless passes or passes just to keep possession. Whenever he gets a chance and he's not under pressure, the head's up, he's looking for the forward pass and he can deliver it as well. So, top quality. He's certainly made a name for himself in these 2 games. And as I said before, I think that's what these games are for. If you can get an emerging talent coming out at this level and can handle. And he can handle it, having read 1 or 2 of his quotes in the newspapers as well. He seems a confident boy, and he's certainly shown it, in both these games.
Yeah, he's been terrific to watch, Willie. Perhaps not so much from his point of view. He's a young man, probably just relishes getting as much game time as possible. But from the older professionals in the squad, they'll be delighted when the final whistle goes tonight. They get back home, back to their families, and then a well-deserved break. The players really need, as Michael is saying, it's not just physically, it's mentally as well, isn't it?
Oh, it is, yeah. There's no doubt about that. Perhaps more mentally than physically. The treatment they get nowadays, the sports scientists they have, the regimes that they have to keep themselves fit. But, it's a huge amount of games that you're playing. If you're playing at international level, you're playing with a top club, you're playing in European football and all the rigours that goes with it. But you know what, Kenny, it's absolutely brilliant. I wish I was back there myself.
Oh, do you know what?
It just is.
Yes.
Everything that you give up, and you do give up a lot, in terms of family life and perhaps your social life as well. But it's fantastic, and these guys relish it, and to have them all turning up, as you were speaking about earlier. Mm-hmm. I've been in camps, and I got my first opportunity Hungary and Poland when some of the bigger names at the time, some of the more established names had long seasons and couldn't make that trip. And it gave me the opportunity to go and get myself in front of the manager and prove to him that was good enough at that time. The only thing I regret, Kenny, is not being involved with John Wark in Escape to Victory with Sylvester Stallone and Pele and all these guys. Whenever it comes on the telly, I make sure that I watch it, and I watch John Wart's small part in it, but some of the football, and the Pele goal was fantastic.
I'd love to have known what the selection criteria was for that movie. It's one of my favourites. It was an absolute class. I wasn't expecting to go there tonight, but thank you, Willie, for that. Do you know what? Just looking at the pictures, it looks glorious out there. It's a fantastic setting out there in Liechtenstein. It's a beautiful evening, and we can hear the Tartan Army in very good voice there, Michael. As we look ahead to the second half, we look at that bench. I think I know the name you're going to say. Who do you want to see get an opportunity in the second 45?
I don't know, you tell me.
Kieran Bowie?
Yeah, I would like to see it. Aye. I mean, obviously, we spoke about this on Friday as well, that the back end of last season, this season that's just about to finish, he wasn't starting every game for Hibs. They were clearly just wanting to ease him back in and not have any other injuries, get him fully fit with a good pre-season behind him for next season. But getting a half or at least half an hour would do him the world of good, I would think, here for Scotland. Exactly in the same vein as what we've seen with Lennon Miller in regards to getting him some game time and getting him feeling like he's comfortable and that he can handle and deserve his position in the team.
Well, we said surely they will win tonight. Certainly Scotland are on course. Or just that one fright, that really nice shot just wide on the stroke of half-time for the home side. We can see the players ready to come out now for the second half. John Carver just there at the mouth of the tunnel, one of Steve Clarke's assistants. He spoke about the freshen up he gave to his backroom team there and how he looked at things after the disappointment of the Euros, and we certainly saw improved performances in the Nations League. It was a hugely disappointing night, of course, for us all at Hampden on Friday evening, but in the sunshine out there in Liechtenstein, Scotland are bouncing back tonight, 2 goals up away this evening. Che Adams with both strikes, the first on 4 minutes, the second on 25 minutes. So this is the final game of the season. It's been a great season, so many stories, and actually already so much to look forward to at the end of the summer. We kick on again with the league campaigns, of course. There's a League Cup that gets underway around about the middle of July, as you'd expect. Full coverage right here on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland. So let's get back to our commentary team for the second half. Liechtenstein against Scotland. Willie Miller, Michael Stewart and Alistair Lamont.
Thanks again, Kenny. Yeah, the players just emerging now from the tunnel, just waiting to see if either side are going to make changes at the interval. You'd expect them certainly to do so in the second half, but whether there'll be any at half time, we are just waiting to see. But Ross Doohan emerging back onto the field of play as Scotland come back out, and the Liechtenstein goalkeeper Benjamin Buchel also making his way back out. I wonder if I'm actually not entirely sure he's going to take part in this second half, because he seems to have taken his kit off, but we'll soon establish that. Steve Clark also making his way across the pitch with the technical areas on the opposite side from the tunnel. Looks still like it's very pleasant out there in the sunshine in Vaduz. It really is a spectacular setting set in amongst the Alps, and the Liechtenstein manager, as I say, the German Konrad Funfstuck, he is also making his way back to his dugout. Liechtenstein looking to get off the mark. They haven't scored a goal since scoring. They lost the last 5 games, certainly since a 0-0 against Gibraltar. No goals in the last 3 since a 3-1 defeat by San Marino. It is going to be a change of goalkeeper. Justin Ospelt comes on for Liechtenstein for this second half. He plays for FSV Frankfurt, born in the Bahamas and playing in the 4th tier in Germany, and he comes on to try and prevent Scotland adding to their lead in this second period. 2-0 Scotland lead then. Doesn't look like there's any changes from the Scots that I can see, as Liechtenstein prepare to get us back underway, and off and running we go as Liechtenstein play the ball back the way to the left hand side and then played forward down their left flank, but straight out of play, and a throw into the Scots to be taken by Ralston. He goes back the way to Hendry, who knocks it out to the left hand side to Andy Robertson. Scotland looking for a similar start to the one they made in the first period, as it's nodded back though to Ospelt, who's making just his 6th appearance for his country. And he last played this time last year, actually, in a 3-0 defeat by Albania. Another player who has spent time at Vaduz, but as I say, playing in Germany most recently, as Gilmore hoists it forward. It's a good ball for Adams. I might just think about taking that first time, but just checked in the turf. Back with Ferguson, good ball across goal, and then knocked behind for an early Scotland corner. It was Traber who was doing the defending as Ferguson put it into a dangerous area. So an early corner on this right hand side for Scotland. Liechtenstein 0, Scotland 2.
I think you're absolutely spot on, Al, that it just seemed to check in the grass and hold up, because as the ball got played through from Billy Gilmore, it was a lovely pass, and you're thinking it's going to bounce, it will sit up perfectly for him to perhaps just dink it over the keeper, but it didn't bounce the way you were expecting and move forward. It just sort of checked and was caught under him.
Robertson's corner from the right hand side is a deep one. Lennon Miller will have to go and retrieve that at the edge of the penalty area. Plays it back to McKenna, who helps it back into the penalty area, and it's cleared, and then Ralston from about 20 yards inside. The Liechtenstein half goes all the way back to Ross Doohan, who's got plenty backing from the Scotland fans, looking to keep a clean sheet on his Scotland debut. He's certainly been untested thus far, as it's picked up just outside the box, and Ferguson rolls it out to McGinn. Looks like the two of them have swapped sides at the start of this half. McGinn tries to just cut across the goalkeeper. I think that might have come off the post actually in the end, as it's not back in by Ralston, and now it's in, and it's George Hurst who knocks it into the back post, and Scotland within 2.5 minutes of the restart have got their 3rd goal. And George Hurst, who was denied on a number of occasions on Friday by the Icelandic keeper, does have his first Scotland goal on his 4th Scotland cap. It is Liechtenstein 0, Scotland 3.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt that this hits the post for John McGinn as he steps back inside. Good overlapping run from Ralston. I think the keeper might have got a touch on it as well, but onto the post, and then the ball back in. Hurst reacts really well. This shot gets down low, hits the post. Ralston on that overlap gets to it first and puts in a dangerous ball. So Che Adams at the front, I think, flicks it on, and George Hurst being the first to react quick to anticipate just where the flick was going to land, and he's able to flick it into the back of the net.
Twin striker play. Do you think it's something that will catch on? Really good cross from Ralston though, wasn't it? And I felt as though that's what Shea Adams was trying to do. Don't think he was going for goal. He was just trying to play it into a dangerous area, and Hurst there at the back post to slot it home. Easy street now for Scotland, but well worked. A well worked goal, and Ralston, playing a big part in it down the right hand side as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And George Hurst off the mark for his country, and as Willie points out, both strikers now not only linking up for that goal, but both on the score sheet, which is ideal. It's not often Scotland go with two front men. I'm not sure it will be something they persist with, but those two doing everything they can to show that it might be something worth looking at again. George Hurst with, as I say, his first Scotland goal. He had one chopped off against Iceland. McTominay had gone just offside before he had his initial effort at Hampden, and Van Hurst rolled it into the empty net. The offside flag ultimately, or the VAR decision as it was, denied him. But Liechtenstein falling 3-0 down, and I guess really now for Scotland's a question of how many do they want? Do they want to just kind of really go for it, scent blood and try and notch up a handsome victory here? And it's certainly there for them if they can continue the pattern of the opening 50 minutes. And you have to say, Willie, it has been, on the whole, as much as you could almost argue this is a no-win game to go out into, it has been a good response to all the criticism that came their way on Friday.
No, it has been. You've still got to find the back of the net as well, and you hope that nothing outstanding is going to be done by the opposition, which was close to when it was 2-0 with that Kendall strike. But no, the managers started with the two up top as well, both of them getting goals. It's been a dominant performance, and your two main strikers are scoring goals. So so far it's been great, and you're right, it might be added to as the night goes on.
There's a couple of changes coming for Liechtenstein early in this second period, and Andrei Netzer is going to come on. He'll replace Fabio Luki Notaro up front. That is the first of the changes, and as I say, Netzer comes on for him. And just waiting for confirmation. It's Meyer is the other. Livio Meyer is going to come on. He's a defender, and he will replace Kenny Kindle. So I think that's just a straight swap in that right back stroke right wing back position. So Liechtenstein making a couple of changes early in this second period as Kindle makes his way around the park. Came closest to scoring, as Willie says, for Liechtenstein, but off after just 6 minutes of this second period, in which Liechtenstein have already conceded to make the score Liechtenstein 0, Scotland 3, and they've pretty much, Michael, done all you could ask of them so far, Scotland.
Yeah, and scoring at good times early on in the match, and then just when it was hitting around about the 25 minutes, half an hour, when it was beginning to drop off a little bit, getting that second goal, and now early in the second half, it just allows the momentum to continue in the game.
It's a rather rough challenge on Andy Robertson as he just tried to see the ball out for a goal kick, which he successfully did. It was Saglum making that challenge. No free kick given, just the goal kick, as Scotland take that one quickly, and it's Gilmore picking up midway inside his own half. Plays it to Ralston, who put that terrific ball in for the third goal, flicked on by Adams and finished by Hurst of Ipswich, who, assuming he stays at the club, will be playing in the English Championship again this season upcoming. Scotland have it in the left back position through Robertson, flicks it back the way to Hendry, just inside his own half, plunders his options and then goes back out to Andy Robertson, who then lifts it into the penalty area. It's headed half clear, but picked up by Adams on the edge of the box. And he is on a hat-trick for Scotland. Shea Adams cleared, but picked up again by McKenna. And then Robertson on the left-hand side feeds it forward. And it comes off Liechtenstein player now for a throw-in over on the far side. 53.5 played. Liechtenstein 0, Scotland 3. Scotland looking to add to their tally further as Robertson feeds it into the area. It's headed away, but back into the Liechtenstein penalty area it comes again. It's well defended, knocked out of play over on the far side. Lennon Miller goes and offers himself for the short throw-in. Now he picks up possession and finds Robertson on the left-hand side. He rolls it into McGinn inside the penalty area. Gets it to Lewis Ferguson with his back to goal. Nods it back the way looking for Gilmour. Can't quite find him. As Liechtenstein get bodies back and get the challenge in, and then they can try and come upfield over on the right-hand side. Looking to build an attack of their own, but Scotland have pinched it back once more and can come forward again themselves as Gilmour just tries to feed it through. It actually came to Hurst. I don't think he was expecting it to, because there was a Liechtenstein player in the way. It did come through to him and he was taken by surprise and couldn't bring it under control. But it's good play by Gilmour, who did handle it though as he slid in to intercept the pass, and it will be a free kick to Liechtenstein just outside their penalty area. 55 almost on the clock. Liechtenstein 0, Scotland 3.
But showing good endeavour and desire to go and win the ball back. Billy Gilmour had tried to play the slide rule pass before. You can see there, accidentally coming down and touching the ball with his hand. He knew himself, but I think his pass before that went through to Hurst in the end. I think it just was a good example of the park just holding the ball up a little bit, because it looked like he'd given a fair bit on it, but just not enough to slide through. And then, as I said, they're showing good hunger and desire to go and try and win the ball back.
The other point I would make, Michael, is that the high line that they're capable of playing when you've got someone like McKenna.
Absolutely, you see that recovery
McKenna,
there.
Unbelievable. His pace is frightening.
Strength as well, Will.
Yeah, huge. I mean, he's a colossus. He really is. And when you've got that kind of a pace, you can have the confidence to go. What is he? He's a good 15-20 yards into the opposition half there, and even when it looks as though he might be beaten, he's got the pace to get back. That's really important.
Corner kick taken by Miller to the edge of the box to Gilmour. He couldn't either take it first time or get it under control. Ralston's caught late there at the edge of the box. It's going to be a yellow card to the substitute Andrew Netzer, who was trying to close Ralston down but was overzealous in his challenge. Scotland have a free kick about 15 yards or so maybe outside the penalty area, but it's an opportunity to put it back into a dangerous area. Ralston just getting up with a slight limp, but I'm sure he'll be absolutely fine after a fashion. But Gilmour already over the free kick. I'm sure Robertson will come across and look interested as well. Here he is, in fact, the Scotland captain, left-footed. It's right of centre, so you'll fancy that one. Or he tries to play it short into the feet, I think, of Miller, who made the run, but it was cut out by the wall, and that opportunity is gone as Hurst shows another good example of what Michael was talking about, the endeavour and work ethic, tracking back to just knock that back to Ross Doohan and ensure there was no chance of Liechtenstein grabbing a goal here. 57 played, Liechtenstein 0, Scotland 3. The third goal coming just at the start of this second period from George Hurst to add to the two scored in the first period by Shea Adams. Here's Robertson, just rolls it infield just inside his own half to McKenna, and now it's Gilmour once more out to the right hand side to Ralston. Back to Gilmour it goes onto the halfway line. It's Hendry. There's a short ball into Miller, just tried to play a kind of no look ball around the corner, and it was almost given away, but Scotland quickly pick up possession once more as Hendry has it inside the centre circle, rolls it into Gilmour again. He combines well with Gilmour. He was caught from behind and offer an apology there after the challenge comes in. Scotland will have another free kick in the midfield as we get a rerun of the challenge on Ralston. That allows the TV director to animate the fact that Andrew Netzer is in the book. A couple of changes coming here for Scotland. and I think that's Josh Doig who's going to come on for his Scotland debut to replace Andy Robertson. So another nice moment for Doig on this occasion, and McGinn is also coming off, and it's another Scotland debut. It's Andrew Irving, formerly of Hearts, now down at West Ham United. Hasn't played a massive amount of football for them, but another big opportunity for a couple of players, Michael.
Yeah, it is. Obviously Josh Doig, stiff competition in that left hand side, but gets the chance here.
Scotland have taken a free kick, and it's Miller into the back post. A really good ball, but it is well defended, you'd have to say, at the back by Lars Traber at the expense of a corner. But another delightful ball played in by Miller after the corner had been the free kick had been taken short to him.
Yeah, a very good ball, puts it in a dangerous area. The defenders had to make sure he gets something on it there, but I'll be interested to see how Scotland set up now, because Andy Irving's not going to play out in the wide area, I would suggest.
Here's Miller with the corner from the left hand side, curls it in dangerously once more. Good defensive header, knocked high in the air. As again, it looked like a foul on Gilmore, but it's helped back into the box. Miller knocks it down for Doig, and he gets the shot off, but it's wide of target. What a Scotland debut that might have been had he been able to just find the target there. But Doig sends it wide. We've played almost an hour. It is Liechtenstein 0, Scotland 3.
You don't want to go over the top about Lennon Miller, but sometimes you have to. I mean, about that little layoff for Doig, it was quite sensational, wasn't it? Just taking it out there and allowing the left back to have the strike at goal. He's been outstanding. What a debut!
Yeah, it's nice to be able to get excited about a top talent, and there is absolutely no doubt that is what Lennon Miller is. He's so comfortable. Stephen O'Donnell was in this programme yesterday talking about him, really eulogising him. He did say he's having himself in the best possible way, because he knows he can back that up. He's so much ability, so much confidence in himself as well, and his next move is going to be fascinating.
Well, in a very un-Scottish manner, to have somebody like that, but I think it's brilliant. He doesn't strike me as somebody that comes across as arrogant in any stretch of the imagination. He's somebody that's got a great deal of self-confidence, and that should be applauded.
Yeah.
And yeah, you need that to be able to go and play at the top level. And with the greatest respect to Motherwell, I think everybody recognises it. That's not his level. He's going to be going a lot higher, and long may that continue for Lennon Miller.
Yeah, he certainly got a bit of the swagger. Billy Gilmore showed that when he came through, and Michael was making that comparison earlier. They've both come through and immediately looked comfortable in a Scotland jersey at the tender age. They both come in as Andy Irving marks his debut by giving away a free kick in the centre circle. We played 61.5 minutes. Scotland leading by 3-0 out in Vaduz as the curtain comes down on season 24-25. It won't be down for long. The close season will be a short one before the League Cup gets us back up and running, and then it'll be the European qualifiers. But Scotland are going to be closing it out with a victory, and as much as the opposition are not great by any means, Scotland are turning in a good performance out there, and having been roundly criticised for particularly the goals they gave away against Iceland, that really made the performance probably look worse than it did at times, it felt to me. But tonight they've turned it on at times and got the 3 goals so far, and still about 27.5 minutes to add to that tally as Flower of Scotland rings round the Rhine Park Stadion. I think it was about 4,600 I saw there, the official attendance out there, and many of them will be Scots.
And they're enjoying themselves as well, in the sunshine, with a 3, possibly more goal tally as well to enjoy. So think sometimes you just go there. You have it's always a holiday atmosphere when the Tartan Army are in town. I'm sure they'll be well behaved, and I don't know. Is it Steiners that we'll have over there? What do you think, Michael? Will it be Steiners tonight?
Al looked like he was desperate
pints?
to jump in and give you some local info there.
I don't have any local knowledge whatsoever, I'm afraid. Here's Doig in an advanced area, left-hand side, just rolls it back the way, but I'm not sure it was that Irving who just tried to sweep it into the back post. Yeah, it was, and he got it all wrong. He has a good left foot, certainly, but didn't deliver what he was hoping to there, and it's gone straight behind for a goal kick. But Michael, I remember you and I doing the championship games when Hearts were in the second tier, and Andrew Irving was part of that team, and I think it was probably the year he was coming to the end of his contract. We did wonder how, where he would end up, and he's taken a rather circuitous route out to Austria, but now finds himself in the Premiership and in the international setup.
Yeah, it's been a very unconventional path. You're forgetting the fact he went out to Munich and
Germany as well.
Yeah, he was in Munich, and the side was dissolved. They went into bankruptcy, and he was left, not knowing what he was going to be doing. And then to Austria, as you quite rightly pointed out. I mean, to get the move from Austria, I think it was Klagenfurt that he moved from them to West Ham, is quite impressive. I mean, quite eye-catching to get that move. But he's got ability. There's no doubt about it. He's got a nice left foot, and and that's why I was suggesting I didn't think he was going to play it in the wide area, because he's not somebody that's blessed with blistering pace. But he'll be disappointed with that ball into the box, because he has got a good, nice, cultured left foot.
Fabio Wolfinger has just come on for the captain Hassler. He looked like he'd taken a knock, so Gopal takes the armband, and Fabio Wolfinger will come on in the midfield for Liechtenstein. We've got 25 minutes to play as Scotland look for a fourth goal. Ferguson can't quite wriggle through a second challenge, having rid of himself of the shackles of the first marker. Here's Ralston. It's a good, intelligent ball into Gilmore. Back the way it goes to McKenna, and now Hendry midway inside the Liechtenstein half. Ralston now for Lennon Miller. Miller gets it back once more, trying to get the better of Gopal there. Just tries to poke it back to Ferguson. Doesn't quite get there, and Liechtenstein can try and come away. But again, they're quickly dispossessed by this Scotland side that look eager to win possession back as quickly as possible, and eager to add to the 3 goals they already have as we approach the 3/4 point in the game. It's McKenna out to Doig of Sassuolo. They've just won promotion to Serie A, so we have another Scot plying his trade in the Italian top tier next season. Here he is, Doig, the former Hibs man, now 23, and making his international debut out in Liechtenstein as Hendry picks up just inside the centre circle, plays it out to Doig on the halfway line, and now Irving back the way to McKenna. Scotland will try and come forward. Miller just takes his eye off the ball, and Liechtenstein pick up, but Miller has it back, and a wonderful touch to lift it over the Liechtenstein player, and it's fed forward looking for Hurst, but out comes the goalkeeper Ospelt to grab that before Hurst can think about adding to his tally. 67 played, Liechtenstein 0, Scotland 3. Willie, did you like that little touch in the midfield from Miller there?
It was brilliant, and you know what? It looked as though when the ball came to him, it actually bobbled over his foot. You're thinking, did he miscontrol that as it went past him? But then when it came back to him, yes, it was very enjoyable to watch. It's a player that is obviously playing with a huge amount of confidence for someone so young at this stage of his career. And it was delightful to watch.
Double change for Scotland as Nathan Patterson and Tommy Conway come on, and Ralston and Hurst make way. So straight swaps at both right back and indeed up front as Middlesbrough's Conway replaces Hurst, and he'll be looking to try and get his own name on the score sheet, no doubt. Unfortunately for Michael, Kieran Bowie still sitting on the sidelines, but his time will come certainly if he continues to impress as he did in the second half of the season after battling back from that bad injury he suffered early on in his Hibs career. Scotland have it on the right hand side. It is Patterson of Everton. Interesting to see if he makes a move in the summer. Hasn't played a lot of football since returning to fitness, but certainly more than capable of playing at that level, it seems. Scotland have it about 10 yards inside their own half. We've played 68.5 minutes. They lead by 3-0, 2 from Adams, 1 from Hurst. Here is Adams on the right of the penalty area, just ushered out towards the touch line. He's done well. He's got away from 2 to 3 challenges. Now it's still Adams, tries to find a teammate in the middle. That's cut out. Liechtenstein on the edge of their own box, trying to get rid of the ball away from the danger area. It's down at the corner flag now. Miller and Ferguson looking to combine. Now the assistant's flag has gone up and he's pointing for a goal kick in the end, and so it will remain Liechtenstein 0, Scotland 3.
Great play by Che Adams to begin with, though. You can see the replays just turning neatly in between 2 or 3 defenders, driving in towards the box. Unfortunately not able to pick out a teammate though.
He's had a good game though, aside from his 2 goals. He's well, as always, he always offers you a lot of work running the channels and so on, but he's played well, and time yet for a hat-trick potentially. 20 minutes to play as Liechtenstein get a throw-in on their left-hand side on the halfway line, to be taken by Jens Hofer in his 4th consecutive start. Here he is in possession, plays it into the midfield, but again it's given away very, very cheaply. Ferguson into Irving, and now it's Miller moving forward on the left-hand side. He's got Doig it's trying to get it into the penalty area, couldn't quite force it across goal, and it's cleared as far as McKenna, who gets it back to Doig. Good first time ball for Miller on the angle of the box, left hand side. Back with Doig. Miller goes down, no free kick though. As Scotland continue in possession, perhaps the referee feeling there was an advantage to be played. Here's Patterson, right hand side, turns away from one challenge. Not got too many options. One of them though down the line was Gilmore. It's knocked out of play by the defender, and Scotland will get the throw in about 20 yards from the corner flag. Just under 20 left. Scotland leading by 3-0. Gilmore gets it back to Patterson, and now it's Jack Hendry, but 10 yards inside the Liechtenstein half. You feel there are more goals in this game for Scotland in the final 20 minutes, as Patterson though is dispossessed on this near side by Sella, and Liechtenstein get themselves a throw in. They're next in action against Belgium here at the start of September, and you don't imagine that they'll offer the Belgians a whole lot of threat in that one. Belgium will be looking to improve their goal difference, no doubt, in that one, as Scotland have possession on the halfway line through Gilmore. He gets it to Doig, who's seen plenty of the ball since coming on. He gets it to Adams, continues his run. It's Doig into the box, left hand side. He goes for goal and it's deflected just wide. And Josh Doig has a couple of efforts he's had already, loving to get forward on his Scotland debut. Wins his side a corner. Could have been a 4th goal.
Yeah, he does well. I wondered whether he was going to just drive past his opponent himself, but playing the ball forward and continuing his run, gets into the box quickly. You can see at the back post, the striker just asking, could he have picked him out?
Here's Miller then with the corner, near post ball. It's flicked on by a defender actually, and then the clearance also made just to the edge of the box though, and Scotland will keep it alive. It's Patterson getting to the byline, fires it across goal and not behind once more for another corner. It was Traber who got in the way of Patterson's pullback. 73 almost on the clock. Scotland's knocking on the door for a 4th goal.
It's good energy, isn't it, from the subs? You know, both fullbacks, Doig and Patterson, very willing to to sprint forward and take part and cause Liechtenstein all sorts of problems in terms of trying to defend against it.
Irving's corner comes in, but it's headed over the top at the near post by Jack Hendry, and so Liechtenstein can take another little breather as they try to keep the score line down. Hendry doing well though at the near post to get a glance on it, just couldn't keep it down. So 73.5 played in Vaduz. Scotland with a 3-goal advantage as the goal kick is taken. Ferguson just shoves Goebel to the ground. Goebel unimpressed, looking for a free kick, but the referee just waves play on. And there's a graphic come up on the screen in front of us saying that Scotland have had 69% possession. It feels like it's really been a whole lot more than that. Is it not, Michael?
69 is still a fair amount, but yes, I would have thought it would have been slightly more than that.
Here comes Scotland down the left channel, but Miller unable to get there before the keeper comes out and grabs it. 15 to play then out in Liechtenstein as Scotland play their final game before the World Cup qualifying campaign begins. A poor clearance there by Ospelt. He sliced that right out of play, and it'll be a Scotland throw-in in a pretty advanced area, quickly taken by Patterson back to the ever-available Gilmore. He just backheels it back to Patterson, and then it's Hendry on the halfway line, square for McKenna, and out to Doig on that far side. The Scotland left plays a little 1-2 and then knocks it infield for Miller. Goes back the way to McKenna, but 20 yards inside his own half. To the right and forward for Hendry, and then Gilmore on to Irving and back to McKenna. Good possession without really doing much with it at the moment for Scotland in the midfield, as Hendry has it back once more and looks up and plays it to his right to Ferguson. Ferguson on the halfway line coming infield and then playing it once more out to his left hand side, and it's Doig again picking up about 10 yards inside Liechtenstein territory. Scotland seeing plenty of the ball, and it's Gilmore now out to the right hand side to Patterson, midway inside the host's half. Comes back into Hendry. Liechtenstein trying to work hard to keep the Scots at bay and ensure there is no fourth or more goals going in, but Scotland would like to add further as Gilmore continues his run. He's almost at the byline there on the left hand side, knocks it back to Doig, who sends it in first time. Conway goes up there, does win the header, comes back to Miller on the edge of the box, looking to find himself a little bit of room. It's hacked away before he can get the shot, and out will come Ross Doohan well out of his goal to just play that short and begin yet another Scotland attack. It's Ferguson back to McKenna, and now Irving just at the edge of the centre circle, plays it square to Gilmore. Scotland come once more, and it's Irving with the right foot. Doig stretching to try and keep that in play. He's done really well to keep a hold of possession there. Tries to get it back to a teammate, and it's Ferguson into the box. Adams gets the break of the ball, but I think he used a hand to control it. That's the referee's signal as well. He says it came off my midriff, but the referee had already given the free kick, and so it will be free kick to Liechtenstein with 13 minutes left in the clock. Liechtenstein 0, Scotland 3.
You know what? See, when you have possession, I mean, the possession there was really good, but it's possession with a purpose, isn't it? You know, it's sharp, it's crisp. There's plenty of movement as well. There's plenty of options for players when they're on the ball too. You know, sometimes when Scotland play possession, certainly at the beginning of the game against Iceland, it was lethargic. There was no purpose to it. Possession's fine. I don't know how many passes that they had there without the opposition getting a touch, but it must have been 20, 30 passes perhaps. But good, crisp, sharp, with a purpose.
Well, I said Kieran Bowie's time would come, and it has arrived with 13 minutes left on the clock. He makes his international debut, as does Conor Barron, coming on for the final stages. Ferguson went off. Didn't actually see who the other player going off was. Was it Adams, perhaps? So it would be maybe the most obvious one with Bowie coming on. But anyway, Kieran Bowie does get the chance to impress Steve Clark further.
No, Shedham still looks like he's on the park there.
I think it was Gilmore that came off.
So Steve Clark going even more attacking with the 3 strikers on the field of play for the closing 12 minutes of this one, as they look to add to the 3 goals. And that's a free kick to Scotland, a heavy challenge going in there from the striker Saglam. And Scotland will have a free kick about 25 yards from goal, left of the centre. And well, Steve Clark said he wouldn't be overly experimental, it's not in his nature, but he certainly handed out the debuts this afternoon or this evening in the closing stages. As I say, Barron and Bowie coming on for their first senior Scotland appearances.
Sometimes when a manager talks, it's not always truthful, you know, and surely you've got to. I mean, you're looking at the opposition that Scotland are up against tonight. If you're not going to be a little bit experimental and get to debutants on, then when are you going to be able to do it? You know, it's absolutely perfect for you know, Steve Clark to make these changes and get, you know, some fresh faces on.
Yes, indeed. And Max Johnson obviously making his first start in the Iceland game. He's not going to see any game time tonight. So really, if you look at the squad that was selected, it's only James Wilson of the young up-and-comers who hasn't been given any game time this time. The young Hearts forward making his debut in the home game against Greece, becoming the youngest ever Scotland player at 18 in just 17 days, but he'll have to content himself with a place on the bench for these two as Liechtenstein make a couple of late changes here. Emmanuel Zunt is going to come on, and also coming on is Willie Pizzi. That's because Saglam hasn't recovered from the injury he suffered in challenging Lennon Miller there. So on comes Pizzi up front, and Lunt as well coming on. He's looking at.
He actually kicked Lennon Miller. So he's injured himself trying to injure an opponent.
Yeah, looking at the other player heading off there as Lunt comes on for him. So 3-0 Scotland lead. The free kick comes to nothing. 10 to play out in Vaduz. Scotland cruising to victory, but you do sense that they would like to just put even more gloss on that scoreline if at all possible in the closing 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's there to be had as well, isn't it? You know, so if you get an opportunity against any opposition to you know, put them to the sword and score more goals in, why not take it? I think if you're a striker in particular, and there's plenty on the park as well, you've got to be desperate, you know, to add to your tally or start your tally. So it's a good opportunity for them. Not easy, I must say, because Liechtenstein, it's just bodies behind the ball, isn't it? Not too much room to create opportunities, but you must be desperate to find the back of the net and just add to the 3-0 tally that they've got so far.
Wolfinger's gone down. He was just actually caught Barron and playing the pass, just also stood in his instep almost as he made that pass, and it looked like a sore one for the midfielder. Barron just on for his debut, the Rangers midfielder, and Wolfinger's going to need a little bit of treatment here before he can continue. Just on the follow through, you see just the studs of Barron catching the Liechtenstein midfielder. He'll be okay to carry on after a moment or two. 82 minutes on the clock. Liechtenstein trailing by 3-0, much to the pleasure of the Scots, who you can see out there, the travelling Tartan army. Scotland resume the game, and it is Barron in possession, going back the way to McKenna. Now Hendry on the halfway line, looks out to the right hand side to Patterson just a few yards in from the touchline, plays the bounce pass with Irving, and then takes the ball into the centre circle and then plays it short to Miller. Forward ball, looking for Bowie out there on that left hand side of what looks like a front three almost now, the three central strikers effectively. And Scotland have a throw-in over on the left flank. It's taken into Lennon Miller, can't bring it under control, and Liechtenstein can come forward down the right hand side. It will be chased there by Netzer, but Scotland in charge yet again, and Ross Doohan gets one of very few touches he's had throughout. He's certainly not had to make a save, as yet again Liechtenstein have failed to get a shot on target. Here's McKenna on the halfway line, out to Doig, left hand side. 6.5 to play. Scotland leading by 3-0. Hendry now clips that one in, rather straight ball. He was looking for the run of Adams, doesn't quite find him. Liechtenstein able to defend that situation and bring the ball down the right hand side. But no player able to get anywhere near that forward ball, and it's easy for Hendry to just pick up possession and bring it forward once more for Scotland. 6 minutes left on the clock, plus any added on time, of which I don't think will be too much, and then the season will indeed be at an end as Hendry plays it out to Patterson, right hand side, tries the little nutmeg, doesn't quite come off. It was read by Sella, and out for a throw into Scotland about 5 yards inside the Liechtenstein half. Right hand side for Patterson to take, throws it into Conway. Conway goes back the way to McKenna. He and Hendry have been unflustered at the back, with Liechtenstein concentrating on damage limitation pretty much throughout. Here's Hendry on the halfway line again. He just tries to clip the diagonal, looking for Bowie, and it's shepherded back to the goalkeeper, Justin Ospelt, who's conceded just the one since coming on at half time. And
you know what, Al? You know, see when the opposition play like that, and we've done it. We've done it in training. It's really difficult to break them down. I think Scotland have been pretty bright. Throughout this game, the heads haven't went down at any stage. Not that they should have, but the energy's been there. But see when they just load their box and have the barrier in front of the defence, and basically any strikers have got are defenders, then it's really difficult to break the opposition down. So to get 3 goals is not a bad tally. Obviously you'd like to see more, but 3 against this kind of a opposition and this kind of a tactics is quite a good haul.
It's certainly been a more comfortable victory than either of the other two against them back in the European qualifiers in 2010-2011 under Craig Levine. The 2-1 victory at Hampden was just his second competitive game in charge after another fairly ignominious 0-0 draw out in Lithuania to start the campaign. It was kind of over before it started, but brighter days now for the national team, you would have to say, with a World Cup qualifying campaign on the horizon, and certainly a group which there's absolutely no reason. You look at it with Denmark, Greece and Belarus, yes, it'll be testing, but at the same time, with the players we've got, Michael, there's no reason we can't go and make an imprint on that group.
No doubt about it, but you talk about 2 opening games that the campaign's over before it began previously, and how disappointing that is under a spell when it was becoming the norm, and it was really disheartening. Whereas now the positivity is back in the national team, obviously having qualified for the last couple of Euros, but the World Cup still has that allure, and we've not done it for a while. The 2 games that we're starting with, away against Denmark and then Belarus, are hugely important. You've got to start brightly, and if we're able to do that, it just sets us up perfectly. 2 tough away games, yes, but if we get good results there, then it sets things up perfectly for a positive campaign.
Yeah, Copenhagen to start with. It's a neutral venue for Belarus. It is an away game technically, but unclear as yet exactly where that will take place. But maybe,
is it in Azerbaijan perhaps? Because I'm just thinking about, obviously, when Hearts played Dinamo Minsk in the Conference League, it ended up being in Azerbaijan.
Pretty sure the SFA are yet to confirm, and their Belarus counterparts yet to confirm exactly where it will be, but there's every chance it could end up being there. A couple of minutes left in Liechtenstein, as you can tell by the conversation. There's not a whole lot happening on the park as both sets of players just seeing out the last couple of minutes. But well, a little bit of positivity certainly returned to the national setup after the disappointment both of Friday night and indeed the defeat at Hampden by Greece, who will certainly also provide stiff opposition in that qualifying group. Remember, just the winners qualifying automatically for the World Cup, the runners-up into a playoff. More of that to come in the coming months, but Liechtenstein have a throw-in just more or less on the halfway line on their left, and it's a free kick. I'm not sure what that was given for, but free kick is taken with a big switch of play out to the Liechtenstein right. They look to try and maybe grab a late goal here to give them something to cheer, as unlikely as that might seem, because Scotland have yet again won the ball back pretty quickly. But it has been a comfortable victory. No doubt the early goal from Shea Adams inside 4 minutes putting Scotland on a positive path from the off, and able to add further to that through another Adams goal in the first period, and then George Hurst's first Scotland goal early in the second half. Scotland still looking to try and grab a fourth before the final whistle goes. Into the box it comes from Doig. It might come to Patterson at the edge of the box. Here he is, just exchanging passes there with Irving on the angle of the box on the right hand side. He plays it square to Miller, who'd love to cap his first start for his country with a goal. Then it's Irving teasing it in, and almost Adams on the end of it for his first Scotland hat-trick, but he just couldn't make the connection he was looking for, and it's grabbed by Ospelt as we tick into injury time, and another chance for Scotland goes a-begging.
Yeah, he just tries to flick that outside his left foot. Wondered whether it took a deflection off the Liechtenstein defender just as it was going through. Not able to get a touch on it, Adams. I think anything, and he would have been able to get it past the goalkeeper.
I think it did take a little touch as well, maybe just put him off as he made that run to the near post.
Scotland in possession then, a couple of minutes added on at the end of the 90. We're into the stoppage time now, and Steve Clarke is about to notch what will be his 29th victory in his 68th Scotland game. He now moves to within 3 games of Craig Brown's tenure. Craig Brown, the longest ever, or certainly the most games in charge of Scotland, and Steve Clarke on the verge of equalling that within the World Cup campaign.
I've been reliably informed that you're not up to date, Alistair.
Really?
Hungary, apparently, is where the game is going to be played.
Oh, that's
Robert Grieve of The Sun had messaged to tell me.
Well, a good name check for Robert, who's never wrong in these kind of situations. So thanks for him getting in touch with you. That's good. So Hungary for the Belarus game. I always like there to be at least one time during a commentary, Michael, where you can correct me on something.
Well, it was Robert, it wasn't me.
You're just taking great delight in conveying that message.
It's called rubbing it in.
Well, Scotland have been rubbing it in from the off here, and we've just got the last few seconds to see out in Vaduz as they return to winning ways. Just good to hear that Robert's listening as Scotland hit the byline, and there's a fourth goal, and is that the Adams hat-trick? Did it come off him last? That's the question. We're going to have to double check. It looked like it did, but the celebrations maybe tell another story. But the Scotland fans certainly delighted that Scotland have grabbed the fourth goal. It might yet go down as an own goal there from Lars Treber as the full-time whistle goes. Conway hitting the byline, gets the ball across goal. Adams was in there. I think it is an Adams goal, isn't it?
It certainly looked like it from that angle, but we'll get another chance to see here. Yeah, I think it does.
Yeah,
I think it maybe comes off his shoulder or his arm at the end, but it's in the back of the net. It's going to stand as a hat-trick.
As the game comes to a close, Shea Adams on the stroke of full time grabs his first international hat-trick. Wonderful moment for him to round off a good Scotland performance. They've done absolutely all that you could have asked of them out in Liechtenstein against what has to go down as substandard opposition, but as they say, you can only beat what's in front of you. Adams with 2 goals in the first half, added to by George Hurst at the start of the second, and then the final touch of the ball was Adams to knock it into the back of the net to notch his first international hat-trick and make the final score in Vaduz. Liechtenstein 0, Scotland 4.
Scotland. Live on Sports Sound.
Wonderful goal for Scotland!
From BBC Radio Scotland.
There's no substitute.